Hey guys, Chris Dick here. Today we're going to be talking about using input and output from the console. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the last session, which was on variables. So let's get started here. So we're going to create a console application, and this will be console input output. Okay. So we press OK, same process as we always do. All right, so we've got our application set up. So what we looked at before is we talked about our getting variables and using variables. So we're going to create a variable right now that is uses, let's say I'm going to use this as an output variable. Okay, we're just going to call it output again. It can be called anything you like, um, but we have to know that it is a string. Okay, this is used for output. Okay, that's what we call this. That's the variable that we are, or the information we've assigned to the variable named output. If I do console.write line and feed in the value of output, all right. Now the next thing I have to do at the very end here is I do have to put in just a read key statement, and what that's going to do is it's going to keep my console window open until I push another key, and in which case the next line is pretty much the exit of the program. So let's go ahead and do this. What we should see as this executes is a line that writes out this is used for output, which we do. If I push enter, that is just any random key. You don't have to push enter, and that will make it work. All right. So the next step is getting input from the user. Okay. So here we do console.readLine. Okay. Now console.readLine, we are going to use a couple things here. All right, we're going to start off by saying you typed dot dot dot. Okay, and what this is going to do is this line here is going to take whatever we typed into the line of text, and then in other words, if I push enter, it enters it as a line. Okay, it enters that into input. The next statement will simply say you typed dot 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 and then whatever you input. Okay, so we'll do that. I'm going to comment these lines out because they're not necessary right now. Okay, so here it's just waiting for us to type in some information. I typed some text. Push enter. I typed some text. And if I push enter, it simply exits the application at this point. Okay. Now, there are a few other ways to get information. There's read and read key. And you can see that we've used read key down here. And if you look at the return type here, it says console key info is the return that comes back from read key. If we look at read, for example, it's actually going to just simply return um, the integer of the what was returned. So I'm going to talk about that right now. So if we do int c console dot read, okay, and I'll just show you here. When I hover over this here, it says int console.read. Okay, so what it's going to do is read the next character from the standard input stream. So that being the console, it's going to accept my character, and then I can write it out. So I'll show you here. Dot write line c. Okay. Dot to string because it's going in as an integer. I can't naturally convert it over, right? So I'm going to show you what the difference is here. I have to right? I can put it out as C or I can put it out as toString. I'm going to show you what happens when with either one. They should be the same, but let's just run it anyway. Okay, I typed some text. Okay, and now it's waiting for it's sitting on this line right here. Okay, and let's just say I'm going to put in 10. Okay, now it wrote out 49. Why did it do that? Well, what it's doing here is it's actually taking the characters that I put in as 49, but it's only reading one of the characters, and I'm going to show you using the ASCII table what character it actually found. So if I look over here at ASCIItable.com and I'm looking at this DEC column, okay, it typed out 49, which is right here. If I follow over, that character is 1. So although I typed 1, 0, it only took the one character. Okay, so it's only taking one character from my input. And I'll explain to you how that could be used or invaluable, whatever you choose to see it as. So that is valuable in terms of if let's say I have a bunch of menu options that I only have, one to 9 as my option or 0 to 9 as my options. Anything less than a 2-digit number, I'm okay. Right, so I could have up to 10 options in my menu, and I could say if if C equals 49, then that corresponds with 1. So that can be a little tricky to understand though. So let's go and expand on this a bit. I'm going to comment out these by doing Control KC. And by the way, it's not Control K plus C, it's Control K then C. So 2 key actions. All right. So the next part we're going to do is we're going to do string equals console dot read line. Okay. Now this line here is I'm going to just take the first character that comes in. All right. So and assuming that it's a number, that is okay. We are going to convert it, right? You'll notice here I'm just using random variable names now. You don't have to get too complicated like we did up here, right? So here we do a convert to int 32. Okay, there's a few different types, but int 32 is pretty common. All right, and then we do this, convert x into an integer. That then goes into the I, all right, variable. And then what we're going to do is write out the value of I. Okay, so here we're going to say you selected menu option I. Okay, let's try this out. So it's going to ask me, or it's just going to sit there waiting for me to type in a number. And again, if I type in 10, you selected menu option 10. All right. Now what went in here is not the character, not the ASCII value of 10, all right, because that would be 49 and 48 if that was the case. So what we actually have now is a number, a physical number converted from a string into a number. Okay, it gets a little confusing right now. It's not the same thing. Okay. Now, there's also another way to get some input. All right, so if we do console key info is the data type. Okay, now we've used string and integer before, but this time we're using a different type of object called a console key info. And I'm gonna do this here. It's console dot read key. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I'm going to put a breakpoint here, and I just simply type in, click on this area here, and it puts a breakpoint in. I am going to comment this information out, all right? And this is only going to be reading one key from my input here. So I'm going to show you what happens when I use the information that comes in. So I push the number 1, and what happens if I hover over KI, all right, I end up with this detail here. And you'll see here it shows key D1, digit 1, and then key char is 49. That's our ASCII value, okay? And this is the char value is 1, okay? So how do we actually use that information here is really the key. So if I want to, once again, convert some information out, okay, I am going to do this now. All right, so I'm going to take ki dot keychar dot toString, okay, and I'm going to see what happens here. So what we're expecting here is that it will take the char value, which is 1, okay, convert it into a string, okay, and then from that string it converted it into a real number. All right. Otherwise, it is just simply going to, let's call it CI, for example here. Otherwise, it's just going to take the value, the ASCII value, and use the ASCII value, which should be 49. So here, right, I have the CI, which is 49, all right, and that's the character code right there. Or I have the true value, which is what I typed in. It's just a straight conversion to a number. Okay. And there we go. All right. Now, one other thing that can be very valuable is formatting your strings so that they go out with the correct format and that they're predictable format. If you see right up here, I used this method here. I took strings within quotes, and then I did plus I. Okay. Now that's okay if you're doing something very simple, and I don't have to I don't have a lot of complex input or output. But what will be valuable is this here. So if I do output, I'll do this. I'll say string dot format. Oops, format. Okay. Let's say I'm going to ask for some input. So I'm going to take some input here, X, and I'm going to use I, and then I'm going to use CI. Okay. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to use the output here, the right function. I'm going to say enter a number, colon. Whoops, got a spell right there. All right, enter a number, which means that on the next line it's going to give me a number. It's going to ask me for a number, or when I enter it, it will put that number into X. All right, and I'm going to say the number you entered is, right? Now, this is something called a parameter array, all right? And we talked about that in variables. So the first parameter is part of an array, and its index is 0. So the way we enter that here is just like this, all right? So it says you enter the number you entered is, right? All right. The further information that we want to do here is I'm going to do this. I'm going to say select a menu option. Okay. We'll do that. Take away. All right. And then I say the menu option you chose is, okay, and I'm going to say the option is index 1. This is 0, this is 1, and this would be 2. Okay, and the ASCII code is number 2. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is very simply have it write out that output to the screen. And we're going to take that variable, move it into here. Okay. Excellent. All right. So let's find out what happens here. So we'll push start. We'll see if we've got all of our information. It says enter a number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Select menu option, and we're going to select number 3. Okay. So if I look at what we have on our screen, okay, the number you entered is 1, 2, 3. The menu option you chose is 3. Made a spelling mistake there, by the way. And the ASCII code is 51. So in other words, I look over here to the ASCII table for 3. You'll see it right there. All right. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this tutorial. If you like what I'm doing, please remember to subscribe and like, and most certainly share. I really appreciate the feedback. Have a great day.